Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to turn your photo into 3D animated war zone. Normally to create VFX like this, you need third-party plugin. But guess what? We have MotionVerse Flame, a procedural flame and neon fire generator. This is the only photo animation template that has an effect like this. Let's begin. Let me show you how to use it. I'm going to use these three files for this tutorial: cloud, building, and inject green screen. Select it all and place it here, your files folder. Done. MotionVerse Flame is incorporated in field scene here. Double click that. Select this UI and enable scene. We can now place our plate here in this placeholder. Double click that. And you can now drag and drop the images you're going to use for the plate. So we have the cloud here, and then the building. Then close the comp. This is MotionVerse Flame. Double click that. And when you select this tab, you will see here use on 3D objects. For this tutorial, we're going to apply the flame on the scene itself, not the objects. But if you want to apply on objects, you can enable that. So we're going to go for the scene here. The first step is to generate the flame. Double click that. This is Flame VFX comp. And when you select Animator UI, you're going to see here MotionVerse Flame for the VFX. So we're going to now draw a path around the area we want the flame to appear. So I'm going to double click this UI here, Flame FX, and select Flame Shapes layer here, and select Pen Tool. And I'm just going to show you an example of what this can do. If I draw a shape like this here, then I go back to Flame Animate, and then select Animator here, enable Scene, and look at that, we've created flame. And if I go back here and select the mask and make some adjustments, and go back to Flame Animate, you see that it's updated. MotionVerse Flame is procedural. That means you can create any kind of fire element using it all inside MotionVerse without needing third-party plugin. Let's proceed, and I'm going to show you how you can generate multiple flames at the same time. So I'm going to disable the scene and then go back to Flame Shape. And I'm going to delete the mask. Now we can draw the path for the flames for this photo. So I'm going to add something here. Something like that. And I can add something here as well. Now I can add something here. And here at the corridor. Something little here. And there. And I can add also here, and add something here as well. And we can add here. Looking good, and we can add something here around this tree. make it smaller. Just like that. And we can add probably also here on the road. Something like that here. Okay, so we're going to generate flame for those areas. We can now go back to our VFX comp, enable, and we have it here. So I'm going to go to display and I'm going to show plate. Now I'm going to go to flame generator here. We can go to flame area. We can enable multiple flames. Awesome. Now the flow is very natural, but if you want to retain the position of the path, you can check that. And then it retains the original position. I'm going to disable that. Now here you have the body feather. You can feather it. But for this tutorial, I want it to be sharp. So I'm going to enter only 2 here. So it's more sharp now. And I'm going to go here, flow and speed. And I can change the flow type from bonfire to intense fire. Looking great. And if you want to control the speed, you can go for speed here and then reduce it or increase it to burn faster. Then I'm going to go to emission, streams, and I'm going to adjust the stream width and height. So you have it like that. Depends on how you want it to burn. And I'm going to increase this to about so about 500. That's perfect. So we have the result here, looking great. So now we're done. You can also go to adjustments and you can adjust the glow. So let's go back here to flow, and you can also adjust the glow here to more brighter and more darker here. So I'm going to leave it at 2. And if you go to adjustments, you can enable glow here and you can increase it that way. And you can go here to filter and you can also make some adjustments. And if you want to change the color, you can change the color of the flame here. Just enable colorize and you can change the color to any color you like. Looking great. So we're going to go back to our color here for the flame. So as you can see, our flame is ready. So let's preview this. Go to about 3 seconds here and we can preview this. And look at what we created using MotionVerse. and you have this realistic flame burning really fast. Awesome. So if you want to reduce the speed, you can go back to flow and speed, and here is speed here, and you can adjust that. And if you want for like candle flicker, so you have to use a single flame and then enable that. You also have here for direction. So I want this to flow vertical, more natural. And also if you want it to flow horizontally, you can select that and the movement changes. So I'm going to go back here and you can make more adjustments. If you want to generate particles for the flame, you can enable that. And you can generate particles here. You have the animation and all that. And you can disperse also. Let's go to the amount here. You can increase it. And you can disperse the particles all over the place. So I'm just going to disable the particles. And now we can increase speed and check for the export. So if you want to use this for your videos, you can now go ahead and export. So we are done for MotionVerse flame. We can then close this comp and close the one for the path. And we're now back to flame objects. Select the UI, enable scene. And here, you can double click this UI here. In case if you want to start masking. So select Animator here. And activate flame. And if you want to mask out any area, you can do it from here. I can select this layer here, add mask. Select my pen tool. And then I'm going to draw mask around this area here. And I'm going to press M and subtract. Now we have the flame just sticking to the area. If you want to add more mask, you can also do that. Press M and subtract. And look at that. So we're good to go. The next thing is to animate the cloud. So I'm going to close this comp. And this one here, I'm going to close that too. And now we can add cloud. This is MotionVerse cloud. Double click the UI. And then double click import. We're now going to drag and drop our cloud here. Close the comp. We're now going to also import our building. So I'm going to click import here and place the building. Close the comp, select this UI for settings, and I'm going to select photo template and close. And I'm going to enable our cloud. So go to template, then use your photo, enable that so we have our cloud. And you can place additional display so we can show the building here for guide. Now let's start to animate our cloud. So go to animation and enable animation. Go to dynamics we're going to animate the X. So add keyframe. Move to about 3 seconds. Press N. And then move it to the left. -50. Close that. Go to transform. So we're going to add keyframe from the beginning. And press K. We can scale it out. Just like that. Our cloud animation is ready. And look at that. I'm going to hide the guide. And let's run preview. Looking great. You can animate any cloud photo using MotionVerse Cloud. Perfect. We can now close Cloud Animation Comp. And we're back here in Field Scene. Select Animator UI. Open it. Since we don't have any grass to animate here, we can go to Display and Hide, Underlay. And we can now show our structure. Go to Elements and show Animated Cloud and Animated Flame. Perfect. Now our field scene is ready for projection. We can close it and then go to Surroundings for 3D projection. We can then go to Depth Map. We're going to use Mask for the depth map. So select this one here, Settings. You will see M-Depth. So go here, Mask Depth. Enable that. Because we want to be precise with the details of the depth map, we're going to use masking. So select Pen Tool. And you can add mask here for the nearer mask. Near, far, and farther. So for the nearer, we're going to mask this area. Great. We're going to add mask here for near. Something like that. We can just adjust this a bit. Then add mask here. You can leave some space for the edges. Something like that. And for the father, we can add mask around this area. We're not going to enable a mask and then go to the fathers and show that too. So I'm going to hide the mask for now and select nearer. I'm going to subtract this area. to go to Mask, M, and Subtract. And we can now activate our mask again. Perfect. So we can go to Adjustments and we can increase the softness. And if you want to add more details for each of the masks, you can go there, narrow, and you can increase details for that. So I'm just going to adjust the gradient. Something like that. Our depth map is now ready. We can close this comp and we are back to our editor comp. I'm going to select the animator here. Go to depth map, enable, go to view, and you can view the depth map. So here under selection, you can select the XYZ depth generator here. And you have it. So you have the sharp and we have the soft. And here you can test out the depth map. Perfect. Exactly what we want. So I'm going to set this all back to 0. And now I'm going to show the field scene. So go to Display, Scene Selection, and then show the field. And I'm going to minimize UI. And now we're going to set up our grid for projection. So go to Projection Setup here. And we're going to rotate. So here, Fast Preview, I can enable that. And here, I can now adjust this. So just like that. So I'm going to enter here 1.7. And then I'm going to adjust left and right. So about negative 16.6. We're done with the rotation. We can go for the position here. And we can adjust horizontal and vertical. So for horizontal here, I'm going to enter minus 2030. And then here, for the vertical, I can enter 772. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is to go to the scale. And we can scale the width, the height, and also scale out. So here, we can enter 104. And then for the height, we can enter 169. And then we can scale it out by 112. And here we can solo, so we can see what we just did. Looking great. I can now hide the fast preview and also hide the grid. And click Animator UI. We're now going to place or minimize UI, and then we're going to place 3D objects. So these are the placeholders for 3D objects. So I'm going to place it on object 1. Double click that, and we can drag our jet clip here. And right click and transform Fit Comp. We're going to trim that. Okay. Now we're going to key the green screen out. Go to Effects, key in, key light, and key that out. Perfect. So go back to Editor Comp here, select Animator, go to Object Properties, and here, Object 1, the nearest object. You can enable that, and you will see our 3D object here. So for now, I'm going to hide it, and then go to Display, minimize UI first, go to Scene Selection, Fast Render. So we're going to hide what we don't need for this animation. So we're not going to use 3D object lights. We want to use 3D particles, and we can boost performance. Now we're good to go with the animation. So go to Animation, Animate Camera. So we can move to about 3 seconds and press N. And go back to the beginning here. We're going to add keyframe to the zoom. We're going to zoom in. Right about there. And then we can add keyframe here for camera, pan and tilt. Make sure that depth map is enabled before you start to animate the pan and tilt, just in case you want to use a depth map. So go to depth map here, enable it, selection, and then we can choose XYZ depth. And now we can animate our camera pan and tilt, just like this. Beautiful. You can see that we're expanding that hollow area. It looks great now. And we can move to the end of our trim comp. Press K. And we can zoom out. And also, we can set this back to 0. Okay, let's preview this. And look at that. Looking great. Just remember, we set this to quarter here. That's why the resolution is very low. You can increase it, of course. So this is the highest quality here, the full resolution. But as you work, we recommend for you to set it to the lowest quarter here. We can now show the 3D object. So I'm going to close animation. Object properties. Go to nearest object and make it visible. So I want it to start to appear from here. So I'm going to go back to Object Comp and I'm going to move it. Okay. So I'm going to add depth of field from this time here. So go to Animation and go to Depth of Field. So we have Quick Depth of Field, which is powered by expression and is more accurate. And you also have the Pro Depth of Field, which is the one that comes with the camera. So I'm going to use Quick Depth of Field here. I'm going to activate and I'm going to go to focus and I'm going to apply that. So I'll set it to 0. I'm just going to move somewhere here. Set it to 0. Add keyframe and move it. And then I'm going to enter 5 here. And as it flies off, I'm going to set it back to 0. Perfect. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to add camera shake. So go to camera shake here. And we're going to add keyframes to the values. So I'm going to add keyframe here and there. And about this area, I'm going to add something like 3 here. And then 30 for the intensity. So you have the amount and intensity here. So we can now preview our animation. Now look at what we just created. Can you believe that you can do something like this using MotionVerse? Create the flame, VFX, animate the cloud, project the environment, and it is looking good. The next thing we're going to do now is to use our FX bank to add some atmosphere to it and then add color grade. So I'm going to stop it right about here. I can unminimize the UI. And then select FX Bank. We're going to add fog. Enable that. So I'm going to go to field, fog here, and I'm going to bring it to the front. And I'm going to change the color. Something like this. Okay. And then we're going to go here, debris, enable that. We're going to change the color here. And we can enhance the intensity. I'm going to go back to my fog. And we can make some adjustments. And now, let's look through. Perfect. Now we can go for the color grade. Select Animator UI here. Go to Filter, we're going to just minimize UI. And go to color grade. And we can play around with the settings. Looking good. I'm just going to tone down the shadow. And I can grade the highlight. So we can increase that and we can lower down our blue. So we now have this hell looking result. And you can also isolate luminance. Amazing. So let's preview. Now look at the result here. MotionVerse is the only 3D photo animator with VFX generators, making it easy for you to create cinematic experience. It's looking good. I will show you how to export this. So press K here and then go to scenery. Go to export and you can choose which aspect ratio you want to render out. So we go here to 1080. You can press N and then set it to full and enable motion blur. You can then go ahead to render it out. Go to compositions. You can use media encoder or render it here through After Effects. So this concludes our tutorial for today. I will see you again. Take care.